it's fantastic mood. It's a feel-good factor. The whole city is buzzing, looking forward to go to Wembley, because that's why we bought the club, to save the club and to go for, we said before, we go for to be promoted to Premier League in the shortest possible time, and we achieved this in 2 years, 5 months from winding up.
Tell us about where you are now with the club, from where you were when the family first took over. And what does it mean emotion-wise to you when you see you're playing, you're cancelling a game against Manchester United to go to Wembley Stadium?
Yeah, I think, it's an amazing feeling for the family because we've achieved so much, and I keep on getting asked, would you do it again? And at first, I'd have probably said no, but now it's a definite yes, because you can't take the money with you, obviously. So it's about your life experiences, and I think we're in a very privileged position where we've actually owned a football club, got them into the Premier League and also into the semi-final of the FA Cup, and that's such a tremendous achievement for the family.
We had some rough times, as Ehab said, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, when the fans came against us, when we did some major changes in the club. And I think the fans now should realise that we were right, how right we were when we did the changes.
Yes, it was broke, like Assem mentioned earlier. We had to put in over 20 million in the first 24 hours to save the club, from the winding up petition. The club is now financially stable, obviously with a very large investment from the family. It's now financially stable. I believe we can balance the books this year and go into profit in following years if we could maintain the Premier League, which at the moment, I think it's a fantastic achievement to be 5 points above relegation. Had you asked me at the start of the season would I be happy to be here, I'd have been ecstatic, yes. Did
you think Dad was mad when he was taking over Hull City?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, we discussed it as a family at the time. When we first made the agreement with Russell Bartlett, we were talking of an investment of around 12 million. Once it started getting nearer 30, I was getting a little bit worried and a bit nervous, and at that stage when it got to 30 million, I thought we really need to think twice about this, because we had the time pressure of the winding up petition. So we never really had a chance to complete the due diligence process, and that was my concern. It wasn't really, well, I was concerned about the value, but also I was also concerned that every single day there were more and more skeletons coming out of the closet, and it was scary. Scary to invest that much and knowing that is still not the end of the problem.
It took a long time to spring clean the club. You don't know what the club was when we took over, but anyway, spring cleaned. We had a policy. We had a three-stage. As business, you think of a strategy, a policy. We had a first stage, and we were not rushing anything, spring clean the club to have a strong base. Second, spend more money and go for mid-table championship. Then, third stage, get top manager, spend more money and go for promotion, which is what we did. It's
because you had to make a very big decision, and maybe an unpopular decision with some people, to change managers, to bring Steve Bruce in and lose one of the local heroes.
Yeah, that was unfortunate, really, because I do like Nick. He's a great guy, and he was fantastic for the club as a player. Unfortunately for us, it was the wrong decision to bring him in as a manager, and we corrected that. Obviously gave him the opportunity, and then we corrected in the summer. But it was unfortunate because he's a local hero, and that's how he should still be regarded.
And Steve Bruce, why do you choose him?
Experience. He's done it before. He's been there. He's done it. And that shows. Look at his composure at the back end of last season. It was really tight. In the second automatic spot, it's easy to go to pieces. We saw Nigel Pearson go to pieces the year before that. When we had a chance of the top six. Well, maybe we shouldn't be saying this, but we have seen it happen. Steve's got the experience and he's got the composure.
Once you go for the quality of Steve Bruce as a manager, you must be prepared to spend more money to satisfy his requirement.
How does it anger you that you sometimes get kind of lumped in with the foreign owners? Because you're very Hull, aren't you?
Yes, I don't know how could I be classed a foreign owner, having lived in the area for 44 years, having lived within 3 miles from the stadium. How many foreign owners have lived 3 miles, 3.5 miles from the stadium for 40 odd years? Including the first couple of years, I lived actually within a few hundred yards from the stadium in Springbank West.
Obviously, they don't know what they're talking about. You know, we are local and always have been, and you know, that was the whole reasoning behind us buying the club, because we're local and because we've been successful locally. We wanted to put back into the community. It's about being local.
And does the manager have to convince you to sign the players that he's managed to sign in the last 12, 18 months?
No, the manager is very sensible actually in his requirement, and we meet every few weeks and we sit and discuss it, and we come to sensible decisions and sensible choices. We don't throw money at players, we get value for money.
Now, obviously Jake is just on loan, but obviously signed Tom in the summer. You know, he's been fantastic for us all season. The Curtis Davis far exceeded my expectations because we bought him from Birmingham and not knowing the history of the player. I just thought he was at that level, a championship player, but he's really exceeded my expectations. Been fantastic for us this season, so consistent.
The elephant in the room is the tiger in the room, isn't it? That people talk about they talk about you changing the names. Where are you along the timeline?
The company name is called Hull City Tigers Limited. The playing name is Hull City currently, and it's that which we're looking to change to Hull Tigers. There's a lot of confusion with the fans because they're still using A.F.C, and that's never been in the playing name to the best of my knowledge. So I think even the fans get confused between the company name and the playing name. And at the moment it's only the playing name which is being rebranded.
When you first came up with this idea, did you realise that it would spiral like this with the fans?
I had an idea, but you have to do what you think is right, and obviously we believe this is the right decision to take the club forward globally. People don't like change in general, do they? So it is always difficult to affect change. We may not have gone about it the right way either in the early days, but at the end of the day, it's still the right decision for the club, and that's what we need to focus on. There's so much excitement within the management team of the opportunities and the potential for the forthcoming seasons if we're able to get the rebrand through the FA. And already we're starting to see so many benefits from that already. We have massive global companies approaching us and asking us to pitch for sponsorship already. Now, in the past, we've had to do the chasing, and the brands haven't been that strong. Now, massive brands are approaching us. That's a first for the club.
And this is part of the Tigers branding?
This is part of the Tigers rebranding, yes.
And how far along the road are you with maybe getting potential sponsors and money into the club because of the Tiger brand?
I think we're fairly close. Obviously, it's not about what we can achieve in the first year. This rebrand is not about a quick fix. It's a longer term strategy, and it is going to take time. If we can achieve some fairly quick wins, then fantastic, but it's not about what we're going to get as soon as we get the name change through. It's not about that. It is about building a sustainable future for the club, and that doesn't happen overnight, but this is the first step. It's about the potential, and it's about the opportunities which we can create with the new brand, and already we're getting global companies approaching us. One of them has $120 billion US turnover.
There's a vociferous section of your supporters out there that clearly don't want to lose the city part of the whole name. What do you say to them? How do you eventually convince them that you're doing the right thing?
I had a look at the proposal to the FA from the City Till We Die campaigners, and in their own proposal they acknowledge that they only have a membership of 1,600 fans, and I believe some of those aren't even season pass holders because it's from the wider footballing community where they're supporting them because they don't want to change in their own club, such as Cardiff. So it's 1,600 from the whole of the UK and beyond, but if you take out that, it's less than 10% of our season pass holders.
It depends what do you want. Do you want a city or quality football? Unfortunately,
it's the people who are against with the loudest voice, but I think a lot of people are, even if they're not convinced, they are giving us the benefit of the doubt, based on the rest of the decisions we have made being the right decisions, and we've achieved success with those decisions. So I think with a lot of fans, they will still call it City, but still support us and and our ambitions.
Because as you know, I'm from the city. The detractors say we can't lose the city bit because it's tradition, but the supporters would say we can't lose the Allams because they've taken us to new heights.
But wait a second, you've been City, but you sing Tiger songs as well as City songs. You can be called Tigers and still sing City songs. We're not objecting to that. We're more than happy with it. Yeah, we're happy with both. And we're not asking fans to choose what they chant. They can chant both. We're called City now, and they still chant the Tiger songs. We beat Liverpool. The whole crowd were chanting, "You're getting mauled by the Tigers." We beat Brighton a couple of weeks ago. You're being mauled by the Tigers. Still called City at the moment. What's the problem?
And I suppose in the hearts of many people, it's still going to be City. They're not going to have to remove the tattoos, are they?
Yeah, exactly. I get people walking up to me in the street and they actually say to me, the club will always be City to me, but we support you with the rebrand, you know, to the Hull Tigers. They accept that that's in the longer term benefit of the club, even though it doesn't suit them as an individual. But it doesn't impact on them, they can still call it City. I call it City sometimes by mistake.
If the decision doesn't go with your proposal, what's the next step?
What matters to me most is the fans, more than the decision from the FA. If the FA in April come and say yes, and the fans said no, I take the no. I don't force the issue. I go by the fans, not the FA. And if we cannot do it, then we walk out with the club will be for sale. We said this before.
Yeah, I think there are two things here. You know, one is the FA decision and one is support from the fans. I think with what we've done for the club so far, we would like to feel as if we're being supported by the fans. If we're not doing, if the community isn't backing us and they don't want us here, then fair enough. But in terms of the FA rejecting our application, then there are methods we can use to challenge that in the future.
I feel we have a duty to protect the silent majority, and we'll never leave this. We will protect the silent majority until I know that they're not the majority.
And could you really walk out after this great adventure that you've had these last couple of years if it did go against you?
Within one day of this, we'll walk out. The club will be for sale.
You put for sale signs up at Hull City?
Trust me, within 24 hours, the club will be known worldwide for sale.
But you said, would you be that stubborn? And it's not about being stubborn. No, it's when you own a club and when you're running the club and you're making the decisions. If you have your hands tied and you're not able to make the right decisions, how can you then be effective in running the club? It's not about being stubborn. We can't do the job. If we can't do the job, what's the point of being here?
And if you put it up for sale, would that be a good business decision or even an emotional decision with what you've gone through?
It's the only decision. It's the only decision. Yeah. When you have your hands tied and you can't make the decisions in your own club, where you've got your own personal fortune invested, how can you continue in that scenario when you can't make your own decisions? It's not about being stubborn, it's untenable. And
the more money the club generates, the more the money will stay in the club. The more money you make, the better chance of acquiring better players, improving the squad all the time to maintain the status of Premier League and hopefully the cup matches and going to Europe in the future.
So if you win your battle, it means more money for the club, better players, better future?
It's not a battle really. It's not, I don't look at it as a battle. It's
a process we have to go through.
It's a process we have to go.
And Dr. Allam, you can have all of the money in the world, all of the investments, all of the business success, but you can't buy an FA Cup final if you got there, can you?
No, that's right. That's right. And it will be a tough match against Sheffield. They've got a good team. They're very eager to win. It will not be an easy match.
And a great honour to sit in the Royal Box for a game of football as well.
Yes, looking forward to that.